So welcome to Module 2, where you're going to learn how to master your mind. Lesson 1 is rewiring your mindset. 4 years ago, I had the worst mindset for success in any area, and I mean the worst. Whether you're thinking peak performance, goal achievement, fulfillment, progress in any sort of area, my mindset was pathetic, and it held me back massively. I, for example, viewed money as a scarce resource. I was hoping others would fail, and I would get emotional about every little fuck up, mistake, failure, or really anything. And because of these three main limiting perceptions, beliefs, mindsets, whatever you want to call them, we're really going to use them terms interchangeably. I was running in circles, making zero progress. And that's because, for example, when you have the perception, like I did, that money is scarce, you're never going to find it. Because when you believe something is scarce, you don't believe there's a lot out there. Hence, you don't believe there's a lot of opportunities out there. Hence, you're never going to run into any of them opportunities to get whatever it is you think is scarce. The same context applies to whatever your limiting mindset is. Might be similar to mine. You might have a money scarcity. You might have something different. But whatever your limiting mindset is, the same sort of context applies. You have a belief that limits your perceptions of the world. It's going to hold you back. Like I said, your belief, your limiting beliefs, mindsets, perceptions could be completely different to what mine was. But regardless, if your mindset is in the wrong place, if it's holding you back in any way, even a tiny amount, you're going to struggle to perform optimally, you're going to struggle to build something great, and you're going to struggle to achieve your goals. Because you have to understand, right, that your entire life and any progress you make in any area is just a reflection of you. Everything is a result of your actions, and your actions are dictated by your perceptions and mindset. So to perform optimally, to achieve your goals, to live your dream life however you want to live, you need to chase mastery of your mind, the first component of self-mastery, so that you can remove these limiting beliefs, remove these perceptions that hold you back, and so that you can unlock your true potential and start to chase it. Now, the first step to mastering your mind, which is what this whole module is about, is rewiring your mindset, which is what this lesson is about. But before we get into the steps that allow you to rewire your mindset, you need to understand where mindsets come from. So a mindset is formed when repeated experiences reinforce a particular belief in your head. Often these limiting mindsets are formed during childhood, when your brain is really malleable, you really want to learn, you soak in all information, and you soak it all in as truth. For example, you might believe that money is scarce because when you were growing up, your parents might have struggled to pay the bills, they might have argued about money, they might have even told you something as simple as, no, we can't afford that. So you never had the newest phone, you never had the newest shoes, you never had the nicest of nice things. So because of that, when you were a child and your family never had any money, this repeated experience of hearing them argue or being told, no, we can't afford that, it's ingrained in your head that money is scarce. That is obviously one example of money scarcity, but the same principle applies to every mindset. It is reinforced into your brain, deep into your psyche through repeated experience, often when you're a child, but it can be older because, for example, some mindsets are stronger than others. These mindsets will obviously be harder to remove because they're stronger. For example, if you're 40 and you've believed your whole entire life that money is scarce, that belief is going to be harder to remove than someone who had a limiting belief that was formed 4 years ago when they started college. Okay? Now, just because the limiting belief is more deeply ingrained in your psyche because it's harder to remove is not an excuse not to remove it. In fact, it's more of a reason to remove it, because the deeper that belief is ingrained into your psyche, the more it's going to influence your actions and hold you back. So remember, we are chasing self-mastery. That means you have to do hard things. You have to do uncomfortable things. You have to be willing to lean into the discomfort. You have to understand that nothing great comes easy. So you have to lean into this discomfort, and you do it anyway. You embrace the challenge. So down to business. How the fuck do you rewire your mindset? So this process is not shallow. Removing limiting beliefs is hard, but it requires depth, time, and a lot of introspection. But here are the steps. First step is to identify your limiting belief. Think about it. You want to remove something, you need to know what it is you're trying to remove, otherwise you're never going to be able to remove it. So common limiting mindsets or beliefs are money scarcity, success scarcity, and a victim mentality, which is where everything bad happens to you. It's just your luck. You're always the victim. It's never your fault. So they obviously are pretty common ones. You might have them, you might not. You might already know your limiting mindsets or beliefs, you might not. Either way, I cannot tell you what your limiting mindsets or beliefs are, obviously, because I'm not talking to you. I can't I'm not having a conversation and can't work that out for you. So you will have to find them yourself. But don't worry, to find your limiting mindsets or beliefs, there's 3 things you can do. The first thing you can do is pay attention to your self-talk. So listen to thoughts that pop up when you are faced with a challenge or an opportunity. Are the thoughts negative? Are they self-critical? Are they limiting? If they are, this is likely just a reflection of a limiting belief. Or are you constantly saying anything along the lines of, just my luck? Or why does this always happen to me? Or wouldn't it be nice to be rich? Consciously pay attention to your self-talk, right? Try to pick out anything that limits you, that puts you down, that removes you from an opportunity. Anything negative at all, pay attention to it. And most importantly, write this down, okay? The second way you can identify limiting beliefs is by looking for patterns. So take time to sit down and think and journal about times where you've held yourself back or an opportunity has came across your path and you've turned it down, you've shied away from it. Do you notice any recurring patterns in life where you constantly or consistently shy away from certain opportunities or certain situations? Again, this could be the sign of a limiting belief where you're constantly shying away from a certain thing because, you know, you might believe it's scarce, you might believe it's not possible. Whatever it is, if you notice anything, write it down. The third way is by identifying your fears. So often limiting beliefs are reflected in your fears. Take time to sit down, again, journal, ask yourself what fears are holding you back, whether they are personal or professional. Do you have fear of failure? Do you have rejection? Not the fear of not being good enough. These are common ways that limiting beliefs may arise through fear, but there's plenty of others. So take time, journal about what fears you have. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be hard, but you may notice some limiting beliefs, and if you do, write them down. And again, all 3 of these methods of identifying limiting beliefs are going to be hard. They're going to require depth, time, introspection, energy, effort. But identifying what is holding you back is the first step to removing what's holding you back. Now, once you've identified your limiting beliefs, you can move on to step 2, which is where you gather evidence. Remember, mindsets and beliefs are formed when repeated experiences act as evidence that this is how the world works. You need to find evidence that is the opposite to your limiting beliefs, that proves that these limiting beliefs are wrong. This evidence can either be from your life or from somebody else's life. So for example, if you believe money is scarce, go and try buy a fucking yacht. I guarantee you can't, because they're always sold out, which means there's people out there with millions of dollars able to just buy boats, okay, and they're all sold out. So how can money be scarce? Or go and look at how many Rolexes are sold every year. There are 1 million Rolexes made every single year. That is made, not sold. There are even more sold on the second-hand market. So think about it. There are millions of people walking around right now with thousands of dollars on their wrist. So how can money be scarce? Okay. Again, this is one example for money scarcity, but whatever your limiting mindset is, go and find evidence from the world, whatever that is, whatever evidence there is, that limiting mindset and belief is wrong. This is where it's going to really start getting good. What I want you to do is I want you to open up a notes document on your phone or take out a pen and paper. At the top of this notes document, I want you to write the name of your limiting mindset or belief that you identified. Underneath that, I want you to write down every bit of evidence you find against that limiting belief. Your notes document is going to say money scarcity, and then underneath you're going to write down all the evidence. So 1 million Rolexes made every year. Yachts always sold out in waitlist. Whatever evidence you find against that limiting belief, write it down. Every single bit of evidence in this notes document is creating a repeated experience that disproves your current mindset, that proves that it's wrong. Hence, over time, and with each bit of evidence that you add, you're going to remove this limiting belief. Now, the third step is to take action. So far, you've identified your limiting belief. You've written it down in a notes document. You then got a stack of evidence in that notes document against that limiting belief. Next, you need to take action and create proof to reinforce the removal of this belief. This is you actively creating proof. This is you yourself creating evidence against your limiting mindset, the ultimate form of proof that the mindset is wrong. This stack of evidence that you created in step 2 is going to give you enough momentum and enough belief to actually go out and create this proof to destroy the limiting belief. If your limiting mindset, for example, is that success is scarce, go out and try help someone succeed. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go and help them build $1 million fucking business. However, you could if you wanted to. It could be helping them with a problem that they're having or finishing a project, whatever it is. It can be something small. But if you do this, I want you to notice 2 things: how it makes you feel and how it makes you even more likely to succeed, not less likely to succeed, because they're more likely to help you. So Obviously, again, that is one example for success scarcity, or whatever your limiting mindset is. Go and take action on it in real life, and every bit of action you take, write it down in that notes document. You have now the ultimate stack of evidence from the whole entire world, right? Not just from your life, and also from your life, that this limiting mindset and belief is wrong. This is creating a repeated experience, which is going to reinforce the removal of the limiting belief so that you can actually unlock your true potential and no longer hold yourself back. Now, I still use this process whenever I encounter a limiting belief, because often limiting beliefs are like layers, right? You have a few major ones, which are the ones you'll notice at the start, and likely when you do this exercise. You remove that layer, and then in a few months, maybe in a year, maybe in a few years, you'll notice that you have another limiting belief. And again, you remove that layer. And the process repeats. You won't remove every limiting belief you have the first go. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, and it's an ongoing process. But this is a process I do every single time I encounter a limiting belief. So, action steps for this video. I want you to identify any limiting belief you have by taking time to journal and going through the 3 methods that we discussed earlier in this video. Once you've identified the limiting belief, write it down on the top of a notes document or on pen and paper. I want you then to go and find evidence against that limiting belief from the world. Whatever that limiting belief is, find evidence that proves it wrong and write it down in that notes document. Once you've done that, I want you to take action against your limiting belief that proves that is you actively creating proof that that mindset and belief is wrong. Again, creating repeated experience that the mindset is wrong, which will remove it, okay? Now, if you can't take action right now for whatever stupid reason, for whatever excuse you're coming up with, plan it, schedule it, and take action whenever you've scheduled to do it. If you complete these 3 steps, you will remove any limiting beliefs that are holding you back, and you will unlock your true potential and get out of your own way.